Have a quick couple slides I want to share with you and give you some really some exciting updates. All right. So last night we kicked off the West Kitsap Way planning study. As we all know, and I'll talk a little bit about in the next couple of slides why this is important. If anybody's been in that part of our great city, you'll recognize we don't have good, safe crossings from one side of the north to the south side. We don't have good access into and out of businesses or residential neighborhoods. It's not great for cycling, not great for pedestrians. So we are beginning this process right now, and we took public input last night. All of it was great input. This will be open for more feedback until December 30th. It's going to be advised to continue bringing in that feedback. The only reason December 30th is imposed as a deadline is so the design can begin and we can start to form that design. I see a question possibly.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler. I do have a question. I had somebody reach out to me who works at Pendleton Place, and is this area, does that encompasses at Pendleton Place, right?
Yes.
Because
Yep.
and what this is my public comment. I'll go ahead and take it as you want, but
Sure.
what they said is that there's not any safe crossing for their vulnerable people over there.
Absolutely. No, that is a great point, and that will be added to the input because you're right. That's 72 new residents right in that area.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Next slide, please. So Energy Summit, those of you who serve with me on regional boards know that I proposed that our region undertake an Energy Summit. So I've received the buy-in from all of the electeds in our region to go ahead and get this kicked off. And so this is just some slides, but the Energy Summit was upon a request for me to actually initiate this effort. It's for a couple of reasons. Right now, it's a gap analysis. We've had several state initiatives come down. There's a strong desire to electrify our fleets, our personal fleets, our public vehicle fleets. Many of our heating systems, cooling systems through heat pump code changes. You talk about initiatives from the governor's office and federal and state initiatives pushing us towards electrification. There's the analysis that's being done that dams are harmful. So hydroelectric now is in question. There's huge debates on whether the dams that we have should stay. And there are some that have been removed. And this is not to be an alarmist. Obviously, there's a lot of thought that goes into even considering which dam is removed. But those discussions are underway, and the fact is building more dams is looking more and more remote for hydroelectric power. The climate and our weather patterns have changed. We have longer and deeper cold and heat spells. So those are increased demands on our energy system. So the other data that we have as a region is population growth from 80 to 100,000 people over the next 20 to 30 years. All of those things together now create a potential question on can we meet the demands of a growing economy, a full build out of the Puget Sound Industrial Center, a shipyard that has that is our largest employer that has demands on power and energy. So I'm convening this summit, and I'm finalizing the details with some of our partners. And Puget Sound Energy will be one of the first presenters. I will get you the date, and the time, and the location as soon as we have that finalized. You'll be on the first invitation. So after that, there'll be a series of other meetings to talk about what's the future hold now that we've done a gap analysis. So more to come on that. It's good to get ahead of it, and I think you all agree the time is right to start analyzing where we are, what the future holds, and how we can shape it. All right, next slide, please. So Puget Sound Regional Council, you can see a $2+ million award. And again, that's a huge thanks to our staff in a very competitive grant process. Went out and presented our project, and we were successful to help with the 303 corridor. And the reason I was talking about during the West Kitsap Way planning study, this is where the 303 corridor study was the same thing. You once you complete these designs, you phase the projects, then you go back to Olympia, and you bring home the dollars and you start implementing the project design, and that's where we are. So this one's exciting. It's I've always felt, along with the other folks in our staff, that adaptive signaling is going to be our quickest, fastest, most efficient way to improve the throughput on the corridor, to get people from point A to point B. And so this will hit the first part of it. The first phase will be the design, preliminary study, engineering, analysis, design. The second part will be the installation. We'll hit 5 intersections between Sheridan and Riddell. And then there'll be a central control area where we can obviously move the signaling around to match peak times in our day, peak commute times. So that was I just was proud of the effort of our staff, and giving you an idea, just kind of showing you that this is what's coming on the 303 corridor. Thank you. And then this is a last minute development. So this just came in. Multi-Care is going to move and build a brand new emergency room in Bremerton. So this is not Bremerton proper. It's going to be just outside of our city limits, but it's I'm proud this is actually happening. I took a trip down over a year ago and initiated a conversation with Multi-Care leadership and providing information on Bremerton's needs, and followed up with more feed, back and forth communication. I was very impressed with their operation, both with the urgent and prompt care in Gig Harbor and their freestanding emergency room in Federal Way. It is state of the art. It's very nice. Today, the Councilor Coughlin and myself on the second the most recent trip when we both went together, they informed us then. And so we've been sitting on this information for a little bit. We had talked about communicating, but this came in so quickly, I thought I'd make sure I got it in front of you, that this is coming. And so we'll keep building our relationships and partnerships with Multi-Care. We'll keep working on our partnership with CHI Franciscan, St. Michael's. And to me, the more medical care we have in our region, the better. So thank you, Council.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll have the consent agenda.
Thank you, President Goodnow. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. 1, check numbers 400720 through 401041, and electronic fund transfers V36368 through V6463, and the grand total amount of $3,410,857.77. 2, regular payroll for pay period ending November 15th, 2022, and the amount of $1,023,841.60. 3, regular payroll payouts for pay period ending November 15th, 2022, and the amount of $2,773.03. 4, regular payroll for pay period ending November 30th, 2022, in the amount of $1,041,816.94. 5, retiree payroll for pay period ending November 30th, 2022, in the amount of $45,691.85. And B, minutes of meeting November 16th, 2022. This includes the reading of the consent agenda.
Does any member of the public wish to comment on any one of these items? Anybody online? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Denton.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Good now.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is public recognition.
As noted on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council on any city-related item that is not already listed on tonight's agenda. You may line up at the center here at the podium. Participating by Zoom, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We ask that you state your name for use on the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. A timer system will be used so that everyone did equally. With that, I will open for public recognition.
Good evening, Councilman. My name is David Emmons, and I am the President and CEO of the Greater Kitsap Chamber. Thank you for allowing me time tonight to share a little bit about the Chamber and our annual Shop Local program, Gnome on the Roam. The Greater Kitsap Chamber is a result of decades-long conversation between business communities of Bremerton and Silverdale, and 2 years of hard work between the two communities to merge these two local chambers of commerce. Founded in 1909 and 1974, respectively, the Bremerton and Silverdale chambers were well known and respected in the business communities that they served and shared a history that serves the foundation of the Greater Kitsap Chamber. We currently serve 564 member businesses in and around Greater Kitsap region. This is the second year the Chamber has promoted a Shop Local program during the holiday season, Gnome on the Roam, to support our members as well as the greater business communities of Bremerton and Silverdale. Last year, we had 64 businesses participate in the program with more than 1,500 engagements on social media through the run of the program, with many businesses re-upping to participate this year immediately upon the conclusion of last year's program. This year, we are proud to say that the increase of businesses is 97 local businesses and are excited to see the engagement so far this holiday shopping season. To kick off Gnome on the Roam 2022, Kitsap Kelly, as he's known, joined shoppers and visitors for First Friday in Bremerton during the Krampus Fest last Friday, making an appearance at dozens of businesses. Chamber safety expert Blair Dale of Firewatch Solutions estimated the crowd to be 1,800 people enjoying Bremerton's First Friday Art Walk and Krampus Fest this year, making this one of the largest of Kitsap Kelly's most robust engagements to date. Gnome on the Roam supports shopping local in Kitsap, whether it be in Bremerton or Paulsbo, Belfair or Silverdale. We encourage all of you to shop local, to take a picture when you see them of Kitsap Kelly and post it on your own social media so that we can increase our visibility at shopping local through our businesses. Businesses are not required to be members of the Greater Kitsap Chamber, and the opportunity is open to everyone. We are grateful to our members for their support. Mayor Wheeler, City.Council, for your support of being members of the Greater Kitsap Chamber. Be sure to make sure that you post on your social media Gnome on the Roam and Kitsap Kelly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, anybody else in the audience? Okay, we'll go online and up first will be Mary Lou Long.
Yes, my name is Mary Lou Long, and I wanted to ask the council if they know what today is. December the 7th. It is the day that Pearl Harbor was attacked. Being that this is a Navy town, I thought that you might be making some sort of reference to the fact that so many of our young men lost their lives and it started us into the big war. Anyway, with that said, I have the flag in my hand. I don't know if you broadcast a visual of me, but I'm going to say the Pledge of Allegiance on this very special day. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I see that you're back in the chambers, but you're not honoring our flag. You're not using it as an introduction to our public meetings, and I'm very offended by that. I've asked you to reconsider. I know there are people on your council that don't believe in saying the word God. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in our flag, obviously, because they won't pledge allegiance to it. So I'm very concerned about the caliber of people that we have on our council. And I'd also like to say a little prayer. Dear God, please enlighten the council members to the fact that they live in an open and free country that was given to us by the blood shed by our young men and sons over the course of the years of our existence. And we should pull together to try to recognize this and be a family and not be divided. Amen. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. And Merry Christmas. Oh, I have a couple of seconds left. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all and to all of Bremerton. It is the season of love and the season that we recognize as the birth of Christ. And it's not just about presents and Christmas trees, it's also about loving each other. So with that, I say goodnight.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Or, sorry, public comment.
Next on the agenda is general business. General business items 6A, goods and services agreement for purchase of sodium hypochlorite from HASA Inc. Our presenter tonight is wastewater treatment plant operations supervisor Travis Olson.
Good evening, Council. I am presenting the agenda bill for the purchase of the sodium hypochlorite solution for the wastewater treatment plant. It's one of the chemicals we use for treatment of the plant.
All right. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we will go to the council for a motion. Vice President Chamberlain.
Sure thing. Move to approve the purchase of bulk low salt 12.5% sodium hypochlorite for a period of 3 years from HASA Inc. at a cost of $2.16 a gallon delivered, and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the agreement with substantially the same terms and conditions as presented.
Second. All right, we have a motion and second. We are open for discussion.
I have nothing to say except that I appreciate that the motion was longer than the presentation. I do want to ask just for clarification. I mean, we've got the sodium hypochlorite. This is just so we can do a bid, right? I mean, can you tell me just a little bit more about it?
So we regularly have done in the past 1-year contracts. This is a 3-year contract this time. And it's from one of the main suppliers in the area. So it's very stable for Bremerton, and it's the best course of action, I think, for the city. It's a low bid, and so that's why we're presenting it tonight.
Thank you. And it looks like the pricing's for 3 years, so we're going to keep that. Okay.
Yes.
No problem.
To jump in, appreciate we got 2 bids back. They seem very close in price, and just to be a little silly in due diligence, I Googled real quick on cost, and anything I could find online, it was like $10 a gallon. So great, we're getting it at $2.16. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Just once again, I really like the Public Works new policy of going for these 3-year contracts, and congratulations on locking that price in for 3 years. Well done, you.
Thank you.
All right. Was there a shortage of this a few years ago? Yeah, if I recall. Yeah. So it's good that we've got a kind of that path locked in as a contracted client or a customer. All right. Let's see where I've lost my. We have a motion. I know we did that already. Seeing no further discussion, I call for the question.
Councilmember Frye,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
and Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. Happy holidays.
Next on our agenda is general business item 6B. First amendment to the park use agreement with Kiwanis Park with Corporation of Catholic Archbishop of Seattle, DBA, as Our Lady Star of the Sea. Presenter is Parks and Recreation Director Jeff Elevato.
Good evening, council. Back in January of 2013, the city entered into a park use agreement with the Our Lady Star of the Sea School for school use of Kiwanis Park, which is right across the street from their facility. That agreement was due to expire at the end of this year. The agreement also included 2 options for 5-year extensions. We were required, Star of the Sea needed to notify the city they were interested in those extensions. They did so at the end of October of this year, and we began meeting and negotiating the next 5-year extension. What this amendment does is allows us a little additional time to continue those negotiations, and it will effectively give us through the end of February to do so. Stand by for any questions.
All right. Thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Mochler.
Move to approve the First Amendment to the park use agreement between City of Bremerton and Corporation of the Catholic Archbishop of Seattle, doing business as Our Lady Star of the Sea School, and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the agreement with substantially the same terms and conditions as presented.
If I could get 1 second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second, and we are open for discussion. Councilmember Mochler, would you like to start?
I would, yes. Good evening, Commissioner Elevato.
Good evening.
During the 10 years that the school has been having recess from, 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock, off and on, sports activities and recesses, has this peacefully coexisted with other uses of the park?
Yeah, it really has. The number of children they have at any one given time doesn't really exceed more than 20 or 25. They go in shifts. It's a pretty good sized park, and just under 3 acres. They do kind of isolate the kids in a certain area, and they understand completely that it's not exclusive use of the park. So the community still has access to the park during the recess time. And I know that they're very active with their mentors out there and supervisors, making sure the kids are allowing other neighborhood people to use the park. So we haven't had any real issues. There were a few comments in past years. We look back at some reports where maybe a fitness class was running around the path and someone felt they were getting a little too close to them. So we talked to the principal, and they talked to the kids and the physical ed teacher and said, just be careful around people. So they've been really receptive to any comments from the public. And we like having people in our parks. It's very good visibility wise. And I think it was mentioned earlier that that's the kind of activity we want to have happen at Kiwanis.
Well, that all sounds great. Could you give us just a couple of quick examples of what kind of activities the children do?
They love the playground. And as you know, we're looking at improving that playground with a great donation from the Kiwanis Club and a grant from the Department of Commerce. They use the grass area. They occasionally use the upper field, which is a full-size soccer field, but they really kind of concentrate in the lower portion of the park around the playground area.
Okay. I have no further questions. I just wanted to say that this seems to be working out well for everyone concerned. So thank you for proposing the extension.
Councilmember Coughlin.
Thanks, Director Elevato. The only thing I have in my head is to kind of think this out loud. So obviously, our parks are open to members of the public at any, during the day. What's the difference between a group of 20 people from like a local daycare coming to use the park versus the contract we have here? I'm trying to figure out where we draw the line between it's just open for the public at any time versus when we have to have a contract with a company like this.
Well, it's a great question. Really, it's not just one visit of 25 children, it's multiples during that time period. And it's a continued use, extended use. So that's really how it started. Part of the discussion we're having in the negotiation is what is that worth to them? The initial agreement that we had to get this 10-year going was a very gracious $400,000 donation to help renovate the park. So now we're at the end of 10 years. We're looking at what the next 5 years look like. And then that's the question. What is that? What's the consideration for that? So that's why we're in negotiation now. We do know that there's more wear and tear on the playground with additional children. It is a larger park. It does provide space for multiple users at one time. And really it's more of a daily thing as opposed to a one-time daycare drop by, bring their children and use the park for a short amount of time.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. That's it.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Director Elevato. I live on Burwell, right behind Kiwanis, and there are two sounds that are my favorite since moving to Bremerton. And one is the bugle and the playing of the Star Spangled Banner in the morning around 8 o'clock or at 8 o'clock. And the other is the recess noises that come from Our Lady Star of the Sea. It's just great to hear kids laughing and playing over there. So as you kind of move forward and figure out what is fair consideration, taking into account all of the factors that you need to, I do think, when I do frequent the park, walk dogs over there, it's really great seeing the kids over there. And from a sociological standpoint, like it really brings, I think, proper use to the park and a really great community feel. So thank you again for moving forward with this partnership. Absolutely.
All right. And again, this is just an extension to have some more time until end of February.
Yeah, it goes through the end of February. We will come back to council with the extension for approval. And at that time, we'll have consideration and everything else as part of the agreement. We're not looking at a considerable change to the agreement, just that extension to move the expiration date out. And we may need to look at a little bit of time shifting because their schedule has changed slightly. So we might move some time around, but it's a good time. It's been 10 years. It's a good time to reopen and we'll come together with a good agreement that we can both be happy with.
I think it's great. It gets us some time to do our due diligence and come up with a plan that works for all involved. I see no further discussion. I call for the question.
Councilmember Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. This concludes general business. Next on the agenda is public hearings. Public hearing 7A. First of two on property use agreement with Active Construction, Inc. for Pine Road Stormwater Basin Improvement Project. Again, we have presenter Parks and Recreation Director Jeff Elevato.
Well, again, before you here as a park use agreement, essentially we were approached by ACI, Active Construction Incorporated, who's currently doing the Public Works Pine Road Basin project. So they're working right around Stephenson Canyon, and they actually have some work in the park at the inlet. So there's a creek that goes at the bottom of the base of the canyon, goes into an undergrounded pipe, and they're working on that as well. They came to us and requested use of an area of Stephenson for a laydown yard essentially. And in exchange for that use, they'll clean it up for us. It currently has a lot of older wood debris, some vegetation debris, also some concrete. We also moved some of the angular rock that we pulled off the Lions Beach in a beach cleanup to that area for staging. So really, it's a good deal for us to get that cleaned up and hopefully use that area for a little bit better purpose. I have included in your packet, just for briefly, steps and canyons just to the west of the 303 corridor between Sheridan and Lebo Boulevard. The area that we're proposing use, it was an old cul-de-sac area. There's asphalt in the area. You can see there's no trees. There won't be any trees removed for this use. And then I've got some pictures in the packet that kind of show the conditions now. This isn't really attractive to us. This isn't good for park use. So we're looking at getting that cleaned up. Some more debris. We've had some challenges with encampments in there and some fires. So we're getting all the old woody debris out of there and cleaning up the unwanted vegetation. Here's some of the concrete that's currently there. So we think this is a good win-win for us. It gets the area clean, and then we can pursue other use of that property. And a lot of ideas have been thrown out, but one that we're really trying to progress on is potential for an off-leash dog park. And we're working on that as a potential. It's a good size area. It's flat. We just need to consider how we fence it and get some funding to do that. So be happy to stand by with any questions. Just for reference, this project supposedly will be completed around the end of March. So we're talking about a short window. And when we're done, they'll return the area without the debris back to the way it was. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept public comment only. No action will be taken by the council members until a second public hearing on December 1st. Public hearing is open. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, I close the public hearing. Up next, we have brief council reports. Since this is the first council meeting of the month, we will start with District 1 Council Vice President Jennifer Chamberlain.
Oh, good evening. Okay, so I do have a quick announcement I want to make about an event coming up in February. Do we have the slide for that by chance? So finally, since the return, or since COVID, the Daddy-Daughter Dance is returning. This is an event sponsored by West Sound Arts Council. The purpose of West Sound Arts Council is to bring local arts into the community and to support local artists. But so this Daddy-Daughter Dance is the fundraiser that not only supports local art endeavors, but also is the main fundraiser for a scholarship that is distributed annually. And for quite a few years now, it's been a student from Bremerton High School that's received this scholarship. So I just wanted to let the public know that this event is back on, and maybe this is a good opportunity to go ahead and pick up a ticket and put it in a stocking if you celebrate that way, or just pre-order them. I have them available. I can bring you a ticket. If you reach out to me, I'll do it. I'll bring you a ticket. But otherwise, you can always email West Sound Arts Council. And that's all I have for that one. And I just have two other things I'd like to say. First of all, so we can take that off. But I forgot to mention the date, didn't I? It's February 4th from 7 to 10 at the Elks Lodge. So I also got a chance about a week and a half ago to take a tour with Director Nucky, who's not here today. And I just wanted to throw just a shout out and a thank you to Public Works for the work that they're doing on MLK Boulevard with the cleanup effort that's going on. There's there is a lot of work that's being done, and I was able to observe it and see that they treated the space with respect, the folks that were there with respect. When I was there, folks were bringing out, garbage from their particular locations and bringing them out, and the city workers were taking it away from them. I also wanted to throw a shout out to not only to institutions like Salvation Army, who are caring for our individuals downtown, but also to folks involved, Bailey Tupai and Food Not Bombs and Ray and D's and other people who are organizing to feed folks who are stuck outdoors. Not everybody can go into our shelters. There's a lot of different reasons why they choose not to go in, and just the huge number of grassroots supporters that are supporting the efforts to keep folks warm and fed. And I think I'd like to say just a quick thank you to Mary Lou Long for addressing a very important day, Pearl Harbor Day. There were a number of men and women who died in World War II, and our town was definitely affected by those efforts. And it's really interesting that you mentioned about divisiveness. And so, in an effort to bridge that divisiveness, thank you for your comment, for your love and concern for us. And I wish you nothing but love and kindness and peace this season. Thank you.
Next up, Council District 2, Councilmember Denise Fry.
I don't have a report this week.
Aloha. Up next, District 3, Councilmember Jeff Copeland.
All right, I got a few slides. Let me say thank you, Councilmember Chamberlain, for going on that ride and reporting back. It's much appreciated, and for all your other comments. And a quick big thanks to we're talking about Krampusnacht and a lot of people downtown Friday. A big thanks to Eric Morley as a community organizer for that, for helping make that happen, along with the mayor and I know all the city staff that helps put on the Winterfest events in coordination with the DBA and Chamber. So thank you all. It's been a while since I welcomed new businesses to downtown and Manette, and they keep on coming throughout the year. Brem Burgers is a fast burger joint on Pacific, operated by the same people. There's another restaurant downtown, so that's great to see. Johnny Boy's Burrito Place by Seafoam Cinema. The Bremerton Mercantile, I think, is coming by the end of the month at the old Amy Burnett building at Pacific and 4th. That's done by local business owner Jimmy Harris and should have a lot of, in addition to being a market, Bremerton themed merchandise to kind of promote, hey, welcome to Bremerton downtown. I got Pups and Cones over in Manette, is a great meeting space as well as coffee and snacks. And Ploy is a printing studio over in Manette. I think I missed them last time, so welcome to those, and send me an email if I missed any others. And then the last slides I have, it's really timely with healthcare and the announcement we got from Multicare. So let me give a big thanks to the mayor for reaching out to Multicare last year. I think as council knows, then middle of this year, I reached out to them and UW Health just to relay some of the things our community have been talking about with lack of services in our region and see if there's any, put that on the radar, if it already was. And it was great to hear that Multicare had an announcement and something in the works, which is now public. And UW is, I believe, still in the middle of conducting a public needs assessment for Kitsap. And another thank you to the mayor as chair of the Kitsap Public Health District for looking at doing a needs assessment for the county as well. And so one other thing we did was myself and Councilmember Chamberlain and Councilmember Mockler met with the Association of Washington Public Hospital Districts the other week to get more information on what a public hospital district is, as that's been brought up a lot in the media and citizen groups with the recent issues at CHI or Regina Francisco Mason recently. So I just put together a couple slides that I think kind of gets across the main idea of what a public hospital district is, and we'll just try and stick to the facts without pro or con opinions. But what I walked away with specifically is that really a public hospital district is kind of like a school district. We have school districts that collect taxes and run public schools. And in a similar way, a public hospital district is just that, except for healthcare. So it's really this community created governmental entity that has a whole section of revised code of Washington law, a whole framework to basically deliver public health services. And next slide. So like any government entity, it's funded by property taxes. There's this max of 0.075% or 75 cents per thousand assessed value that can be collected. That can vary depending on the district. It's governed by an elected board of officials. The typical across the state is 5 commissioners with staggered 6-year terms. So that can vary depending on how it's formed. Can really encompass any geographical region. You could just include a couple neighborhoods. You're not going to get much money out of that, but you could, or you could do a whole multi-county level. Typically, though, it's done at the county level for efficiency and just it jives well. But the neat thing about public hospital district is although it has hospital in the name there, it's really about anything that advances healthcare of the community. So there's a wide range of options that you can spend this public money on. And next slide. So there's already 56 in Washington State. There's some districts that are small, some are quite large. There are rural counties, urban counties like King County. Some are in the poorest areas of the state, some are in wealthier. So it really spans kind of all the divides here. And just some great examples of what the different PhDs across the state support. Obviously, hospitals in the name. Some PhDs own and operate entire hospitals, but there are also nursing homes, long-term care facilities, rehabilitation, ambulance services, and even recently health and wellness facilities. And so this can be operations that are run solely by those public dollars, or the PhD can partner with private institutions to either subsidize private care or contract out services as well. So there's a lot of flexibility. And I think last slide. So folks have said, hey, how do we create one in Kitsap? And it's, I'll say easy as 1, 2, 3. Obviously, it's not as easy as it looks, but you basically just have to decide on the PhD boundaries, if that's the whole county or something smaller or bigger, how those commissioner terms are set up and how many, and the proposed tax rate. That can be put on the ballot either directly by the county commissioners themselves or by enough signatures by the voters as any normal ballot process. And essentially it goes to the voters. They vote on the hospital district and the commissioners to start off, and you're off and running. The caveats are, though, it's not an overnight solution by any means. It can take up to 3 years to start collecting revenue. There are some workarounds to get funding a little quicker, but it does have to get set up and running. We're talking about a full-scale hospital. Typically, most PhDs in the state that run hospitals, only about 10% are funded by the public hospital district tax dollars. So, of course, that hospital is collecting insurance and state resources for most of their funding. And it's still governed by the same laws and regulations as the private entity. So creating a hospital is no small undertaking at all. So a PhD still has to get that done the same way a private organization would. But that said, there's a lot they can do and a lot of good that can come for it. So I just wanted to present that to council so we had the main facts on the ground when we talk about it. And I'll close with, I am just so happy to hear that the multi-care facility is opening. When the mayor and I toured their facility over in Tacoma, it just seemed like a top-notch option. And on a personal note, I've had to go with my husband, who had 2 back-to-back accidents, all good, to the emergency room at St. Michael's the past month and a half. One wait was 6 hours. The other one was thankfully quicker, though late at night. But it sure would have been nice to have something much closer to home. And the multi-care facilities seem extremely efficient from what I saw. So welcome to Bremerton Multi-Care. Excited to see that facility up and running.
Thank you. Thank you for all that information. Up next, District 4 Council Member Quinn Denny.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, I just want to give my thanks to the mayor and Councilmember Coughlin for continuing to develop those relationships with multi-care and let them know of the need here. I saw that in my inbox right before you let us know about it, Mayor Wheeler, and was very excited. I knew there was something possibly happening, but I didn't know what. And I think in any sort of direct services, having competition is just makes those services much better for the consumer, or in this case, the patient. And as Councilmember Coughlin stated, and numerous members of the public have stated, this is a real need in our community. So I really appreciate all of those folks, including Councilmember Mockler and Vice President Chamberlain, for continuing to figure out what needs we do have in the county and in Bremerton, and trying to build those partnerships. So thank you for that. I do know what day it is today because I was born on today, and I do know that it's Pearl Harbor Day. And if we really think about Pearl Harbor, it was an attack by a nation that believed their leader was an infallible, divine being. It's kind of parallel to the things that might be going on right now. I think council members would know that I'm not somebody that usually turns the other cheek when people undermine my character. And so what I would like to respond to is the First Amendment not only allows these comments to be made in a public space and the right to practice religion, but it also separates church and state and from those religious beliefs being opposed on others. So I find comments today extremely comical in the face that some members can't think critically about nationalism and the rise of nationalism, specifically white nationalism, and what has taken over in the last 6 years. So if you really do believe in the flag and America and all the ideals of this country, you understand that the ideals of this country is not to impose any beliefs on anybody. So I will continue to speak out against this person that undermines my character and really doesn't fully grasp what it means to be American. Thank you.
Thank you. District 6 Council Member Anna Mockler.
Thank you. Could we have the first slide, please? Because my next event is an opportunity for people to talk back to City Hall. Learn how to complain effectively. Use the Bremerton One app. And thanks to Public Works, Hillary Hamilton and Chris Smith will explain it all to you. There will be a demonstration. There will be snacks. They won't be as good as tonight's snacks, but they will be good snacks at the Family Pancake House. This coming, well, I won't provide them. This coming Monday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope that you can attend this one. And if you can't, I'm resuming my every second Monday meetings, 4 to 6 at the Family Pancake House. One of the things about Districts 6 and 7 is that there's no public space. There are bars and churches. That's pretty much the public space that we have, and laundromats. So out of these, the Family Pancake House seemed like a really great place, and they've always been quite welcoming. The lousy, extremely very bad weather that we have had for the past week or two has really cut down on off-leash dog complaints. Dogs are not leaving the home, therefore they are not off-leash leaving the home. So that's been a really good thing. Here's a concern, and I'm really putting this out in case anyone knows better than I what to do about it. This morning at 7:32 a.m., a waste management truck was lifting its claw with a canister up and over its body to dump it, and it caught two electric cables, a cable, and a phone line in its teeth, and pulled a 6 foot by 8 foot section of siding out of the house next door to me, which is a strong sound to wake up to fully wake up to. And, you know, we lost power. I lost power for 4 or 5 hours. My neighbor lost power for 8 or 10 hours. We were able to find contractors, and everybody on the block helped, you know, keep everyone warm. But I guess the thing that was a concern to me was that the waste management representative who showed up said this was the 6th time this had happened this week. So if anyone has an idea about what to do about that, please contact me, Anna.Mockler at ci.bremerton.wa.us. I would really like to know about it. Thank you all for putting up with my extremely garbled, ill speech at the last council meeting. So now I'm talking a lot to make up for it. Thanksgiving was really wonderful. I got to work with Bart Bailey and Monk Tupai and God's Broken Home University and Island Hut. They they've been giving away turkeys for years, and some of their recipients just came in and bombarded them with turkeys. They sent out an APB a couple of nights before Thanksgiving saying, "We have 100 turkeys, help." So several of us, ferried turkeys around and got turkeys to people. And since they were frozen, other people like cooked turkey and were able to hand that out, because the thing is, everybody thinks about Thanksgiving and they think about Christmas, and it's still really cold and people still get really hungry. That was really all I had to say. Is please drive extremely safely. One of the problems with the waste management drivers is, just like all the rest of us, the sudden darkness in the morning still surprises and upsets them. Like, wait, why? What happened to our summer and our long days full of light? So please be really, really careful in the mornings when the school kids are skittering around dressed in dark clothes, and have a really wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, District 7, Council Member Eric Younger.
And no report, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think you said things well enough, actually, Councilmember Dennehy, that I'm not going to address that, but it is with a spirit of unity and love that we don't impose the pledge on citizens participating in our government. I do have one slide, if I can get that. Just recently, somebody I know committed suicide. Stone's throw from my home. Somebody, obviously, I wish I knew better. It's a tough time of year. This person was a veteran, very kind of in the downtown scene. Anyways, there is a new suicide hotline, or like kind of like a 911, but 988. Holidays can be really tough for everybody. We've been in really tough times the last few years. I just wanted to take a moment and keep this on the screen. And I think most of us have probably had suicide in some way touch our lives, whether it's family members or friends or things like that. And it's really tough, and it leaves lots of questions. But I just want folks to know that there are people out there. There's people who can help talk you through it. And anyways, so I just wanted to share that and put that out for folks. So 988 is the suicide crisis lifeline. You can take that down. Sorry. And then follow up again. Happy birthday, as we also recognize the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And we will close with just saying the next study session will be held here on the first floor meeting chambers next Wednesday, December 14th, beginning at 5 p.m. This concludes tonight's regular council business. Meeting is adjourned.